Can you tell me in your own words how you see the climate crisis affecting your country? What do you see is happening?
Cyclone Winston was the strongest cyclone ever struck Fiji. I saw houses blown away. Our school was destroyed.
I was visiting family back in Northern California when the Paradise Fire broke out. I had to roll up wet towels, put them under windows and doors, since the smoke was seeping into my home.
We heard voices screaming outside. We just stand outside praying for the fire not to reach our homes.
Many people died.
Our farms were destroyed. Our crops were washed away.
I really saw like flooding and ice caps melting.
The summers are really, really hot.
The snow melts immediately.
In the rainy seasons, when it should rain, it doesn't rain.
And sometimes it's raining that much that the river comes up to danger mark.
Every time we have these heavy rains, our school closes.
The economy is really impacted.
All the memories that were made in that place, like the places where we used to have fun and enjoy, are slowly disappearing.
I was on school and then I heard about climate change.
I saw many people talking about it on social media.
I started to see how communities were being impacted all around the world.
And then I was asking myself, like, what was happening?
I just wanted to contribute and help out.
Who inspired me was Greta Thunberg. Greta and her movement.
She's just straight to the point and she's not afraid to speak up for what she believes.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm 16 years old and I'm a climate activist from Sweden. I learned more and more about how serious the situation was. I couldn't understand why everyone else was just continuing like before, not doing anything, not caring about this.
We deserve a safe future, and we demand a safe future. Is that really too much to ask?
Adults look at us as like us kids, and they don't really take us seriously.
Some people, they don't even think about it.
They're saying, oh, you're too young for this, you're not supposed to be doing this.
They don't really understand the climate crisis, so they need to know the climate science. What keeps me going despite the challenges is that I'm in solidarity with so many activists all around the world.
All the other activists who are fighting every day, I think they inspire me a lot.
I want other young people not to think of how young are they or how small are they.
We can do something about this.
If we really want to make a change, it's about every person individually.
Our future, the kids' future, will be affected.
It's happening right now. We're already late on our schedule.
We live in the same planet.
We have to come together. It's not an option.
As the climate crisis continues to get more urgent, we want you to all take action as well and make your voices heard too.
I don't want to just stand aside and watch. I want to participate. I want to push as hard as I can in the right direction. And I've just decided to do everything I can.
What is the Paris Agreement? The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change to limit global warming to well below 2, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. This requires economic and social transformation to face the climate challenges now and moving into the future based on the best available science. The Paris Agreement works on a 5-year cycle of increasingly ambitious climate action. By 2020, countries communicate their plans known as nationally determined contributions. Countries communicate actions they will take to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in order to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement. Countries also communicate actions they will take to build resilience to adapt to the impacts of rising temperatures. This may include information on adaptation and finance flows. The Paris Agreement also provides a framework for financial, technical, and capacity building support to those countries who need it. Starting in 2024, countries report transparently on actions taken. Collective progress under the Paris Agreement will be assessed through a global stocktake. This will lead to recommendations for countries to set more ambitious plans in the next round.
Hi, my name is Shaan and I'm from the small island of Sabah, Malaysia. So basically, I'm part of the Kadazan indigenous tribe and I'm one of the co-founders of my non-profit organization. It's a student-led non-profit organization where we try to reduce education inequality in Malaysia by helping students, especially from the indigenous community, to actually strive towards tertiary education. I feel that it's quite an interesting concept whereby we are actually encouraged to actually present on our own rather than just listening, because I believe that from what I learned, we actually through this movers program we actually have to teach other people to become movers too. It's not like a lecturer giving a talk. It's more like a one-on-one peer conversation that you can actually meet people of the same kind, of the same mindset. And I feel that if we ourselves go towards our community and actually share about this movers program, they would actually listen to us more compared to people from the outside, because we're part of their community and we have their trust. And through this movers program, who knows, you might get inspired and you might inspire another person to get inspired, and you'll create a ripple effect of force, and we could inspire everyone one day.
All right. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, to all our delegates for the day 2 of the Regional Dialogue on Youth Empowerment and Climate Action. Before we begin, of course, let's do a very quick recap of what happened yesterday. So we set up this menti.com. So just go to this link and encode this code right now. So basically, the question is, what are the key learnings that you gained from day 1? So you'll have a few minutes to answer that one. Once again, just proceed to that website, menti.com, and input the code 138224 and answer the question. Once again, welcome to day 2 of our regional dialogue on youth empowerment and climate actions. How are you guys? Just chat away, send in your comments. What are your expectations for today? Just put it here in the chat box. This is the second and last day of our regional dialogue. And if you have made friends already and collaborated with several of our delegates yesterday, please tell them that we will begin right now, actually. So, yeah, so just please go to that website right now, menti.com, and the code is 138224. We're good? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our climate action leaders from the Asia Pacific and in all parts of the world. And welcome to the Regional Dialogue on Youth Empowerment and Climate Actions. I am Jules Giang, Youth Empowerment Consultant of the UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub, your host for this 2-day virtual event. This event is made possible by the following co-conveners. We have the UNDP Asia Pacific, UNICEF East Asia and Pacific, and UNICEF South Asia. We also have the UNFCCC Regional Collaboration Center Bangkok, British Council, YANGO, Movers Program, and the 2030 Youth Force. And of course, before we begin our session, we are encouraging everyone to please be reminded that today's sessions will be recorded, but for the parallel sessions later on, those will be recorded for note-taking purposes only. And kindly participate and enjoy in our sessions today for more engagement. And please, you may spread the word and share your learnings real-time on your social media accounts by using the official hashtag Climate Promise. So once you share your thoughts about your key learnings for today, day 2, or even from yesterday, please don't forget to use our official hashtag Climate Promise. We are still streaming live on YouTube right now through this link. So if you plan to share the proceedings of today's event to your friends, to your relatives, and to your networks, kindly share this YouTube link to them right now. Okay, so at this point, let's do a very quick, maybe let's check your inputs right now from menti.com. So let me ask our colleagues to screen share the results of your input. So here we go. Thank you for your participation. We can see all of them coming right now. The question is, what are your key learnings from yesterday? Of course, more knowledge about climate change, everyone working on behalf of everyone, and it is to see the vision of sustainable future for children and everyone, to include vulnerable people. So thank you so much. Climate change is affecting everyone, including children. It is a multi-layer issue globally, which requires innovative solutions and intersector collaboration. Young people can contribute to fighting against climate change in various ways. And this delegate said, I learned a lot from the discussions yesterday, and we, the youth, are the agents of change for climate action. One said, the person is striving myself to work with generosity. And someone said here, everyone has the voice regardless of their age. That's true. So don't be intimidated. We should use our youthfulness, our energy to engage with more sectors. Okay. Some said ways on how to turn environmental threats into opportunities, recycle fashion and challenges. We should do to protect what we should do to protect our environment, to take action by identifying our strengths through which we can contribute for climate change. Everything is interconnected. That is true. Climate change in globalization era, we all sure start to do something right now. And this is a very good key takeaway from yesterday. There is no vaccine for climate change. So basically, what we just need to do is to act right now collectively by all sectors. Okay, so please just keep your inputs coming here in menti.com, and definitely we will record all of your inputs in our maybe our final report. So thank you so much. Okay, so day one basically focus on climate change, a collective action. We had prominent speakers all throughout the program, from our welcome remarks to discussing the climate promise, to keynote speeches from the side of the government and of course the youth sector, to a panel discussion focusing on leaving no youth behind, and a hot seat discussion that featured prolific climate advocates and youth entrepreneurs. So thank you so much to all our speakers yesterday. And of course, thank you to all of you who are still here on day two, who were very active yesterday. So what will happen today? Thank you so much, our colleague, for sharing this. Yes, thank you so much. Just keep them coming if you still want to share your inputs. So what will happen for day two? Day two will zero in on the way forward, awareness to action. So maybe you're thinking, how can we transform this climate promise into a climate action? Action will be our buzzword for today. Action, because we'll see that from the marketplace of actions by our invited organizations to a set of parallel events where we can learn from other organizations, and of course to a launching of a concrete way forward for this initiative, the YECAP, or the Youth Empowerment in Climate Actions platform. So that will be a very exciting session to all of us because we are focusing on the ways forward. So let's now begin for our first plenary session. We will begin with our marketplace, the launch of knowledge, products, and opportunities that are available for all of us to take climate actions. This session will be facilitated by the Regional Youth Project Manager of the UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub. Let's welcome Savinda Rathanunga. Sabi, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jules. Very good morning, afternoon, evening to all of you. So I think based on all the delegates that we had yesterday, I think it should be hola for our Mexican delegates who are joining at 12 midnight or to 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and Bula to our Fiji and the Pacific colleagues. So such an amazing opportunity to be with all of you. And great, already we have seen increase in number of participants as well. So let me also invite my co-presenters, our panel, to show their videos as well. So to see who we are already to be here. So as Jules correctly mentioned, I think really good to see some of your learnings yesterday. It's better to take some actions rather than doing nothing, and how we can work together to create meaningful impact for our societies and the communities that we mostly care about. So my name is Savinda Ranatunga. You can call me Savi. I'm the project manager of the UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub for the youth program, and it's really an honor to be with all these amazing speakers with you. So it's nothing from my side for today, but we have an amazing lineup of speakers. So I'm really pumped up for this session because it's unlikely any other programs, because we do a lot of startup programs in our program activities called Youth Collab. So where we do pitching of startups to the audience. So in a way, our pitches are prepared from our organizations for you, because you are the audience, you are our amazing young climate leaders and governments and organizations who can really transform our activities for the future. So we are here to share our pitches to you in the marketplace. So so pretty exciting. So what we'll have is a lineup of opportunities, knowledge products, and organizations that you can be part of. Because I myself was answering all of your 100+ questions yesterday. You're asking, okay, how can I be part of this one? How can I get volunteering opportunities? Okay, what are the knowledge products I can get to learn more? So this is an opportunity to connect with all of them. And also saying that this will be part of our platform that we'll be launching soon as well. So the objective is to connect you with opportunities. So every speaker will take about 5 minutes to share their opportunity with you or the knowledge product with you and the experience with you. And then hopefully you can connect with them in the future. You can always raise some questions with them as well. So yeah, let's begin as well. So pretty exciting to be part of this one. So our first speaker is actually was already someone that you know yesterday from our amazing panel that we had on the hot seat. Now wearing a different hat, as she mentioned yesterday as well. Really, especially talking about something that really amazing happened in Vietnam recently. I think our government speaker, Mr. Tan, talked about it, about this amazing report and the program activities they have. So without further ado, I'll invite the special lead reporter of the special report on youth for climate action in Vietnam, Ms. Ron Mai Huang. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Savi, for that terrific introduction. So hi, everyone, again. Nice to see y'all from yesterday. I am currently wearing the hat of the lead reporter for Vietnam's first special report on youth climate action. So I know I only have 5 minutes and I am timing myself. This is a little bit stressful. So the special report, as you might guess, it's a knowledge product, but it's also a whole process of youth engagement that really started as part of a Youth for Climate initiative of UNDP Vietnam as part of the Climate Promise program. So I was most involved in the steps that led up to the report. And I will, before talking about the content of the report, go over how we made it happen and how we were able to engage with the youth co-authors. So first of all, in early December of 2020, we had a national write shop that gathered together 20 of the most promising climate advocates in Vietnam. And these 20 climate youth have previously engaged with each other and a wider network of youth advocates as well via regionally based forums. And they got together and I, as the lead reporter, we were trying to make sure that everyone was brainstorming ideas and really discussing the examples and stories behind what are the key bottlenecks that youth experience while working on climate projects and what are the solutions that they propose. Of course, we really wanted the report to be inclusive and not just represent, the opinion of 20 people. So we had a survey of 387 climate youth, again, the people who are in the regional forums, as well as youth that we engage on social media via the existing CSOs and youth organizations in Vietnam. And we also did interviews with youth, especially those from under-resourced communities that are harder to reach via online surveys. So we organized the themes of youth climate action in Vietnam into 4 main themes: mitigation, adaptation, nature-based solutions, and climate policy. And as you can see here, we realized that mitigation is really a strong field for youth. There are a lot of innovative projects, a lot of startups that focus mostly on waste management, which makes sense because it's a huge problem in Vietnam, as well as energy saving and renewables. However, we found also that even though climate adaptation and nature-based solutions are 2 very important fields for Vietnam's NDCs, youth still struggle more to create a movement in these fields. A big reason is when people think about climate change and environment, really mitigation is what still comes to mind most frequently to Vietnamese youth. So organizations that work in these 2 areas still struggle more to recruit human resources and have systematic and effective movements. And then climate policy is where youth need the most support in becoming more engaged, because there's still this belief that policy is a very hard field for youth to have a big impact in. So that's what we found. And in terms of the key bottlenecks that really affect youth in all of these 4 areas, it's skills bottlenecks is the fourth most common one. He will talk about, not having skills like public presentation, like putting together a proposal for funding for one of their project ideas. And then access to technology is the second biggest bottlenecks. Difficulty with engaging with stakeholders is the second largest bottleneck. And if you remember from Mr. Dun's speech yesterday, we engaged with Mr. Dunn a lot in our work producing this report. And we, on both sides, on the youth and the government, realized that youth have difficulty engaging with government stakeholders, especially at the local level, because they might not see engagement with youth as their uttermost priority, and it's still a new thing for them. And then, of course, funding is always a constraint, not the biggest constraint for a lot of the youth projects. And then after discussing about the key bottlenecks, our youth group in the report proposed a couple of key accelerators. We actually proposed 10 accelerators. Some of them have to do with bottlenecks in all of the youth action fields. Some of them have to do with more specific fields, and you can read about all of them in the report when it comes out. But I'm going to talk about the main four. The first one being creating a youth-led climate network, and this is actually the logo of the network, which was born on January 1st, so roughly a month after the National Rights Shop to produce the report. And this network is really comprised of youth in Vietnam who have a lot of experience with these projects and know what the bottlenecks are. And the goal is to get together to better connect them, as well as have capacity building events. There's also a climate learning hub. It's one of our key proposals moving forward. A centralized place where Vietnamese youth can easily go on and learn about climate policy and solutions and problems. We also want to organize experiential tours, and this would be especially helpful for people interested in adaptation and nature-based solution models, because it's very hard for youth to imagine what are the viable models out there if they don't get to experience them like firsthand. And then finally, youth climate policy working group with the eventual goal of being able to contribute to Vietnam's next NDC update in 2025. And this working group will have a lot to do in terms of mainstreaming policy, educating themselves, as well as organizing conferences with the government and writing briefs so that youth can be educated as well as have a voice in policy. So I think I am 30 seconds over my 5-minute limit. If you want to know more about the report, it's going to come out around later in February. You can check it out on our Facebook page. It's the Youth for Climate Vietnam Facebook page over here. It's also shared in the regional delegate group. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mai. Amazing to see your presentation. You can share the link maybe in the Facebook group in the chat as well for everyone's reference. But really see the process. I think that's what we would like to share as well. Great to hear your thoughts, and hopefully our participants and young leaders and even governments can learn from this process and connect with Vietnam and other platforms as well. So thank you so much. Moving into from Vietnam, also in ASEAN, but close by to Malaysia, we also have an amazing joint report came with our collaboration with UNICEF and UNDP. But even before that one, we have all these platforms that have been curated before. So especially with that one, we have our regional colleague that is joining from our UNICEF, Sionmi. Really have to honored to have your presence here as well. So to show about a very interesting report that you guys are convening, but why I'm sharing about that, I'll find it over to you. Sionmi, over to you.
Great, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. With great pleasure, I'm joining from UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, East Asia and Pacific Regional Office. My name is Sun Mi, working as a regional advisor on environmental sustainability and climate change. Today, let me just share my screen quickly. We will share just some of the two most recent work that we've been doing on climate change and youth empowerment. Just 1 second, seems to have a little bit of a technical glitch. 1 second, please. Seems to me suddenly the screen is not showing. Let me see. Can you see my screen? If you could just confirm.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, sorry about the slight delay. Great. So I would like to start with a very important quote from the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights and the Environment. No group is more vulnerable to environmental harm than children. Children's rights are being threatened and violated by the global climate emergency. The right to a healthy environment could be one of the most important human rights of the 21st century. Against this backdrop, 3 UN agencies, including the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, that I'm representing here, together with UN Environment Program, as well as UN Human Rights, basically 3 UN agencies whose mandate is to protect children, to protect environment and the planet, and human rights. We have joined our efforts together and undertaken a multi-stakeholder consultation process, engaging environmental experts, child rights experts, as well as youth and children experts, engaging also specifically with a lot of youth organizations in our region, including the UN Multi-Stakeholder Group on Children and Youth, Asia Pacific Youth Caucus, as well as ASEAN youth organizations. We have developed a policy guidance to provide a clear and common normative and practical guidance on applying child rights against the climate crisis, and also increase the formal recognition of children's environmental rights as part of its integral rights of the child. The main content here, we don't have enough time to get into the details, and I will invite you to visit our public consultation website on this common principles and policy guidance. Main points here I would like to highlight that are covered in our policy guidance is, first of all, on enforcement and implementation of climate and environmental laws and regulations, its importance of that, and protection of children and youth from threats and reprisals from participating or expressing their views on environmental matters, creating a safe space to participate, and access to age-appropriate and localized information in environmental matters and child rights, and promoting children's participation in decision-making process related to climate and environmental issues, and also enhancing children's access to environmental justice systems. And also finally, the private sector's role, important role the private sector has to play in upholding children's environmental rights, including in informal businesses as well as transboundary businesses activities. After this policy guidance by the 3 UN agencies, we are going to promote the adoption of this policy guidance and application by member states of the ASEAN countries this year and going forward for the coming years. In complement to that particular policy guidance, we have also developed a child-sensitive NDC guidance, particularly noting the fact that there is a huge gap when it comes to integration of children's priorities and sorry, I put on my timer. Children's priorities and their perspectives into the NDC. We have seen a huge gap. So we have developed this NDC guidance to support governments as well as youth groups to have more concrete substance and technical policy recommendations that can be applicable and can be used in their NDC engagement process. So just as an example, most of the social sectors on which children depend most for their survival, for their health, education, well-being, social sectors, I'm talking about health, education, Ministry of Rural Development, as well as social protection, social welfare, all these critical social sectors are really missing and not effectively represented in this NDC implementation, as well as the update process. So some of the key policy recommendations we're promoting is, for instance, under social protection policy, providing anticipatory cash transfer to poorest households, taking into account the climate dimensions of child poverty. And in terms of health systems, strengthening primary healthcare systems to better manage and to prevent child-sensitive diseases affecting child and maternal health. And finally, also a specific policy recommendation calling for much more financing and capacity building support for green skills development for youth and children, as well as youth entrepreneurship. So these 2 materials that we have developed together with other UN agencies on children's environmental rights, as well as child-sensitive NDC guidance. We're hoping that this will be very useful for all of you to continue your fight against the global climate crisis and really incorporate concretely specific policy recommendations that really will empower youth and children in the accelerating climate actions in the region. So we will love to share with you more in detail through some different public consultation opportunities. And thank you so much to UNDP and other colleagues for inviting us to join this important dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Selmi. I think it's a really important agenda of the children's rights, the environment rights. I think there's a lot of discussions about empowerment and engagement, and then also entrepreneurship, innovation, green jobs, many others. But really, on the core of it, the children's rights and how we can actually and promote and safeguard them. I think it's an amazing thought leadership piece. I think you can see from the chat as well. Yeah, hopefully that more of our audience can be engaged and with the consultations and get this report in access and be part of these discussions. And we hope to do more through our platform with the partnership with Yomi and the team as well. So yeah, I think we are still in ASEAN. I was just okay, so we had the UNDP side of the story over there and UNICEF side on the regional aspect, and now we are putting them together in Malaysia, especially on something really amazing that they did with the survey for the entire Malaysia on how young people actually really on their faces over the youth and climate change, and then how they are finding from the National Youth Climate Survey and how they are actually taking actions around it. So again, over to you, Nasha, from the UNDP team in Malaysia, the environment analyst, to share more about that.
Thank you very much, Savi, and hello everyone from Malaysia. My name is Nasha Lee and I'm from UNDP Malaysia. And today I'd like to share with you the findings from the National Youth Climate Change Survey Malaysia, which was a joint collaborative effort between UNDP, UNICEF and EcoNites. And it seems like, okay, great. So yeah, just let me start off by saying that climate change is a youth issue. And we know that the most severe impacts of climate change will be faced by the youth of today and the future generations. Despite young people leading the way in the climate movement, their voices continue to be excluded from the spheres of decision-making where it counts the most. For example, the task forces of public policy to the boardrooms of large corporations. And in Malaysia, youth make up about 43% of the country's population, and that is youth from the ages of 15 to 40. And what we realize is that existing knowledge of what young people think about climate change is very sparse. And so UNDP, together with UNICEF and EcoNites, embarked on a National Youth Climate Change Survey from July to August 2020, with one main aim, and that is to better understand the knowledge, attitudes, and perceptions of youth in Malaysia towards climate change. So with the survey, a total of almost 1,400 young people responded from the ages of 11 to 35, with a 99% survey completion rate. And the survey was conducted in 3 languages via an interactive chatbot like what you see on your screen on the right. It's basically run on a WhatsApp chat, which is a medium that young people in Malaysia are very familiar with the use of several personas. So it felt like as if you take the survey, you are communicating with a peer, but at the same time answering several questions and gaining some knowledge on climate change at the same time. And so I'll just briefly share with you 4 headline findings from this survey. And the first is that 92% of young people in Malaysia think that climate change is a crisis. And this shows a clear call for action by decision makers to urgently tackle the climate emergency. Secondly, social media is the key source of information on climate change for Malaysian youth. And in our survey, we asked, where do you get information on climate change from? And overwhelmingly, 80% of young people said that they get their information from social media networks. For example, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And it's basically a space to get to know the content and coverage of climate change, and also as a space for community. Now, what we see is that social media is a very, very powerful tool, And with internet connectivity at the fingertips of many Malaysians, we do see that the pace of the climate movement is quickening. And we all know that climate change is a very abstract topic, and it's certainly sometimes difficult to understand climate change from the perspective of a young person. So the opinion of climate leaders, of youth leaders, of influencers on social media really helps to personalize the topic and to make it much more meaningful for youth. Now, the third thing that we observe is that Malaysian youth are not spared from the impacts of climate change, despite being in a geographically stable location. So 9 in 10 Malaysian youth have experienced environment and climate-related effects in the last 3 years. The most common effects that have been experienced by Malaysian youth include air pollution, where 71% of youth have experienced this in the last 3 years. And other common effects experienced includes water pollution, floods, as well as drought. Now, with climate change, we see that the climate impacts will be intensifying over time unless drastic action is taken. And the last key finding that we found from the report is that 92% of youth are already taking action to address climate change. They are taking action in many ways. First of all, a change of lifestyle. So practicing zero waste, reducing electricity consumptions in their households, taking public transport, volunteering, and also implementing nature-based solutions for climate change, such as planting trees. We also see from the survey findings that youth with a better understanding of climate change are much more likely to take action. And that kind of underscores the importance of education and knowledge. Now, this survey is context specific to Malaysia. So what does this mean to youth across the region? And what will this mean for you who are listening and tuning in today? Well, I would say this, that the survey results further reaffirms the fact that we now have a generation of young people that are highly concerned about climate change, highly vulnerable to the effects of climate change, but are also leading climate actions within their communities and within their own respective areas, using the power of the internet and social media to mobilize a cause that they strongly believe in. So it is really the role of everyone, be it the government, the private sector, UN agencies, and NGOs out there, to listen to the collective voice of the young people and to involve them in decision making where it matters most, decisions that affect their lives and their livelihoods, and to work together with youth to empower youth towards greater climate action. So I'll stop here, and if you want to check out the findings from the report as well as the recommendations, you are most welcome to check out the Change for Climate report that's available on your screen through the QR code and through the link. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nasha. I hope you guys can take time to scan the QR code and the report as well. Yeah, I think it is very key report. I think the data is very thought-provoking as well, because I think we just shared from our regional director yesterday in terms of the global data that we convened as well, that is saying about 64% and varying like 60 to 65% in general about climate emergency, but in over 92% in Malaysia, and 80% social media engagement. Very interesting data as well. But I think the more interesting question, I think it's a question for my fellow delegates in the chat as well. So for Malaysian youth, it is 92% of them already taking action. So based on your thinking, how many percentage of the young people in your country might be taking already some climate action? So just take a guess. So put it in the chat. Let's see, like, how do you think about the fairness of your fellow young people in your own countries in terms of the climate actions? So we can see how we can improve them or how we can learn if it is amazing. So thank you so much again, Asha, for making this session as well. And then, okay, moving on. It is we are moving into something very related on green economy, which is a very important agenda. I mean, how young people can take actions and really be connecting the dots in terms of the green economy for children and young people. So without further ado, let me invite Sue Weiss, the Social and Human Sciences Advisor of the UNESCO Asia Pacific. Sue, over to you.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for UNDP for organising this and the many hundreds of you who have joined. So it's great to see so much enthusiasm. So UNESCO and UNICEF have been working together to undertake this small study on youth and green economy, which I'm having trouble screen sharing for you for some reason. Can you see it? Ah, there we go. In 3 countries in the Mekong. So this was quite preliminary because we haven't really explored very much about green economy in the past, and it's a concept that's a little bit newer to young people than, pollution, climate change, etc., which we've talked about for some time. So what is green economy? Well, it's actually about everything we do to make sure that economic activity is not polluting, is not creating more environmental problems. So it could be things like reducing waste or technology that addresses pollution. It could be environmental conservation, but it could be an ordinary everyday business or entrepreneur that is doing things to save electricity, promote their product in a greener way, not use plastic packaging or anything like that. So it's quite broad. And we looked particularly at 3 different areas about the opportunities for young people and also some of the barriers and what could be done. So we looked at education, employment and community action. And we surveyed young people in schools and out of schools in the 3 countries. We surveyed businesses, we surveyed government. And I think one of the things that was really clear from both youth, government and the private sector is that everybody agrees that there has been limited consultation with young people. And also that there are barriers to young people's participation in the consultations that do exist. So either young people are not given the opportunity, their voices considered not to be particularly weighty in terms of their, becoming discussants in this, people don't seem to think that they are that important. And so this is a really clear area that needs to be improved on all aspects. And so in the 3 particular countries, some of the issues that came up, firstly, with regards to youth's knowledge, there's a generally high knowledge about environmental issues. Plastics is a good example. Nearly everybody knows that there's a problem. But when you go a little bit deeper, that knowledge is not much deeper than awareness that there's an issue. So this is actually an issue for the education system. The education in Thailand is more advanced in terms of content on climate change and environment, but everybody recognises that there needs to do more in all of the 3 countries. The second thing I think in terms of community engagement is that young people have an interest and an awareness that there are issues, and there is a motivation to be able to do something. But most of the young people that were in the groups didn't know how to connect with activities to help them to be able to become activists. So given that they have a generally low level of knowledge, they're probably not going to be entrepreneurs themselves, not going to start an NGO or initiative, but they do want to join in what other people are doing. A lot of this is through after-school activities, which are generally very poor in relation to climate and environment-related things. So how do they find these good environment groups that are out there, and how can we help them to connect with that? In relation to employment, this was a very interesting one because almost across the board, everybody saw employment as about making money, and they saw being involved in a green industry as not a very good economic opportunity. If you get involved with the green industry, you're not going to earn much money. Nobody made the connection between the fact that you can green any industry. It doesn't have to be just an environmentally friendly industry. That connection is really lacking, and there's no career advisory services or anything that is promoting these kind of green concepts when young people are considering careers. So I think that those findings have been very interesting, and now we would really like to see, well, you know, what can we do to improve some of those circumstances. So we need to provide ways to connect youth with the opportunities, particularly the ones that you yourselves are running. There's a lot of great young people's groups here, and you can see here in the picture, this is Climate Strike Thailand. It's a good example. Some of the young people have heard of them, but people did not seem to know how to get in touch with them. And that was quite critical. Teacher training is really important, both to what we do in the formal schools, but also in the after-school activities. When teachers don't have confidence in their own understanding of climate change and issues, they can't run a very good after-school activity. And in fact, what they even do in the classroom, although there'll be, you know, resources that are well thought out and well planned, the teacher's ability to create discussion and make this, you know, how young people can connect with it, and particularly in terms of behaviour and action, is still a little bit limited. Internships came up as another one. How do we actually promote industries, particularly those green industries, to create more opportunities for young people to experience what it would be like working in those industries? And promoting green jobs at industry fairs to raise awareness of the fact that green doesn't mean poor. It doesn't have to. And this is something I think we really need to address if this is going to be an area that's going to be able to capture some of that commitment and passion of young people to contribute, not just through what they do as a community activity, but they could be contributing also through their employment. So that's our study, and we will be able to share with you soon some links for where you can download the findings. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sue. I think it's really important agenda on the green jobs. I think you actually answering one of the questions that was already raised in the chat as well. I mean, there are a lot of young people. It actually was a answer for the previous question on the Nasha as well. How many of them are trying to take climate action, but they think that in the industry wise, it's not profitable, it's not economical. So then you address that question. It's not about having green industry, how to make every industry going green, and then. And as entrepreneurs from our Youth Scholar program, we will be thousands of them. I think Charles is coming in a couple of times talking about all this investment coming in. That investment case, there's opportunities. So how we can work collectively with all of you. So I think so. Thank you so much, and we really look forward for the research outcomes and be part of the platform so that all these young people can be part of these dialogues as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think so. We had a lot of knowledge that is being created, and then really exciting. So for all of you on this agenda now, we want to create some opportunities, some global and regional opportunities that might be really interesting for you to be part of. So let's start this round of opportunities, starting with our colleagues from UNFCCC who joined very early in the morning to be with all of you. So we have Fleur Newman and Luca Brusa from the UNFCCC to talk a little bit more about Action for Climate Empowerment Network. Fleur will talk more about that one. And then also on a very amazing opportunity that is coming with Asia Pacific Climate Week, which is part of our regional timeline. We'll show you soon. But yeah, so talk you more too about that one. Over to you, Fleur and Luca.
Hello, Savi, and good morning, early morning from Bonn in Germany. So great to be here with this fantastic lineup of speakers in the marketplace. And I add my thanks to UNDP and partners for organizing the dialogue. So what is Action for Climate Empowerment, or ACE? It's the international framework for how countries, regions, and local communities can engage on climate change education, training, public awareness, public access to information, public participation, and international cooperation on these issues with children and youth, a cross-cutting focus. It's grounded in Article 6 of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and Article 12 of the Paris Agreement. Implementation of all 6 elements is foundational in solving the complex challenges presented by climate change. We need everyone to be informed, involved, and contributing to the urgent transition we need to low carbon, just, and climate resilient economies and societies. And we've heard about that, many different aspects about that today. ACE is an important part of achieving a healthy, safe and just future because it's not for nations alone. It takes all segments of society. ACE provides the framework to educate, empower and equip everyone to understand that addressing climate change can also help us address some of humanity's other big challenges. Climate change is tied to alleviating poverty or exacerbating poverty, to equality, to clean air, to biodiversity, to everything. Everyone includes nations and everyone joining this dialogue yesterday and today. 2021 is an important year for ACE under the intergovernmental process in the lead up to COP26 in Glasgow this year. Although ACE is grounded in an article under both the Convention and Paris Agreement, these articles don't provide much detail on the how-to. A work program or a how-to for different actors at different levels, international, regional, national and local levels, was agreed by countries who are parties to the Convention, and it started in 2012 and ended last year in 2020. So this year, parties to the Convention and Paris Agreement will be reviewing the success and challenges arising from what's known as the Doha Work Program, because it was agreed at the conference in Doha, and looking to agree a successor work program at COP26. The official children and youth constituency under the UNFCCC, known as YANGO, who I think you've heard from yesterday and we'll be hearing from again today, and also through the Youth Ambition Summit being hosted by the Italian government for pre-COP, are two opportunities. But before COP26, there will be regional opportunities, which Sabi has already alluded to. And to tell you more about these regional opportunities, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Luca.
Thank you so much, Claire, and thank you also, of course, for you to UNDP and all the other partners for giving me the opportunities for 1 minute, no more, just to inform you about these opportunities. Let me also say good morning. I mean, here we are in Bonn. I think it's quite interesting to say that today, quite unusual, so that's also show what climate change is about, is -9, which is very unusual for a city like Bonn in February. And the river, I mean, is raised quite a lot. I mean, we are practically, some streets have been closed. So climate change is something we are feeling very much even today. But as a response, we are trying this year also, of course, to bring the discussion on at the regional level. Last year, we couldn't organize the so-called regional climate weeks. We organized 4 of these all around the world in 4 different regions. We did in 2019, actually, we were in Bangkok. It was a very, very nice conference, very well attended, in particular by the youth. So I don't know if some of the people here today maybe were there 2 years ago. And in fact, the youth participation was so much that sometimes you go to our website, you see a lot of pictures of young participants in the Bangkok. We did even a video and so on. So this year, most probably, we will have just a focus on virtual events, and therefore let me quickly give you the timeline. So we will have an event starting in March, which is a kind of a set the scene. It will be 3 and 4 of March. That will be an opportunity for our executive secretary and the core partners, UNDP, UNEP, and the World Bank, plus the champions of the COP and the presidencies of the COP to launch the climate weeks. Then we will move virtually into Asia, and that will be 6, 7, 8, 9 July, also by the government of Japan. This will be a virtual event. Then after the Olympic Games take place in Japan, hopefully not virtually, we will go into 6 and 7 of September in Yokohama, where we hope to have in-person event. We hope. If it doesn't happen, it will be again a fully virtual event, again hosted by the government of Japan. The youth organization will be highly involved. We hope to have either, in collaboration, of course, with Claire, who just spoke before me, a full youth event, but more of all, inclusiveness is also the key word in this event, which means inclusiveness of countries, but also inclusiveness of who are the key stakeholders around the world. And of course, youth is part of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity once again.
Thank you so much, and Luca, for joining again 6 a.m. in your time in the morning, because we had the option for our delegates to say that, I mean, they can share a video as well, but they said they want to be in person with all of you to feel the energy and share these amazing opportunities. And we are really, as Luca mentioned, the Asia Pacific Climate Week is a key component of our platform. So these dialogues, we hope to bring some of your messages and discussions and your interest to leading up to these dialogues in September, starting from March. So we look forward to work with Luca with that. And then of course with ACE Networks, I think just for your information, we have few government leaders who are also joining as the ACE focal points in various countries, in Thailand and beyond. So there will be some discussions happening after. So we really look forward to work leading up to COP26 and many discussions with the ACE networks across the region as a key component of the platform. So thank you once more for joining with us as well. And UNFCCC is a key partner. We cannot talk about COP26, how important it is, especially for this year, so that we all can be part of it and be leaders. And then moving on to another opportunity from my very friendly colleagues in our own office, Charles, but who has an amazing global opportunity, really exciting on the adaptation fund, especially on the Climate Innovation Accelerator. So to tell more about that one, let me invite Tongwen Yu, or Charles, we call him. Charles, over to you.
Thank you very much. Please just allow me to share the screen. My name is Charles Yu. I'm the investment appraisal specialist for the Nature Climate Energy team. I'm based in Bangkok, but my function is global. I would like to talk to you about a grant funding opportunity today for a global grant funding opportunity. So this is grant funding opportunity is opened under the Adaptation Innovation Marketplace, a partnership of UNDP with ECAC, University, Least Developed Country University Consortium on Climate Change, and our global partners. Under this, I just want to probably explain our team, UNDP Nature, Climate, and Energy team. We operate in 142 countries. We deliver about 700 million annual programs on environmental programs. Currently, our portfolio have $5 billion worth of programming, and we have more than 1,000 projects. And we practice in 6 areas: sustainable energy, climate change adaptation, forest management, biodiversity, ecosystem services, water ocean governance, chemical, and waste. It looks big, but to be honest, in the real world, it's really a drop in the ocean for combating climate change and the global issues on environment and climate issue. But let me explain why we are thinking about using innovation grant. We really think climate change and climate change adaptation require really localized participatory approach. There's no really one-size-fits-all solution. So we want to engage with social enterprise, startups, young entrepreneurs, farmers, women, marginalized groups, local communities to work together and really strengthen this system. And of course, the youth team is a core partner to helping us to achieve this vision. And we've been actively working with the youth team to reach young entrepreneurs and social enterprise to participate in this program. So the current program we've just gone for the call for proposal closed in December. It was distributed to the youth network, and we've received significant interest from the youth entrepreneurs. Out of the 380 applicants, I think there's about 30 organizations really specifically focused on youth engagement and youth innovation towards climate change. It is a 10 million, well, roughly 10 to 15 million US dollar grant funding window that is going to open for 4 years. We hope to open another round of funding by the end of this year. Maybe 2 kind of window, one for piloting project, new solution for 60,000 for 2-year project period, or 125,000 for organizations with really established customer base or beneficiary base that really want to scale up their effort. In the general sense, it's like a innovation challenge or challenge fund, but with a lot more involvement of UNDP support. So you go through the call for proposals through our UNDP and partner network. We'll have an investment panel that to screen the proposal. But more importantly, this investment panel will consider global expert to help you to work on the work plan that you want to achieve. So it is a very supported program. And through this program, we'll select the grantees, we'll work with the NGO CSOs. At the moment, it's really focused on NGO and CSO that are registered with legal status. We understand the limitation of that, and we really want to work with the youth team and other teams to make sure in the future we can open some windows to social entrepreneur or just youth individual with interesting idea. But currently is NGO and CSO. Lastly, I just want to say why this program is a little bit different. We're really trying to build a UNDP platform support, not only from the UNDP Nature, Climate, Energy team, but also from the youth team, from the governance team, from the small grant program, from donor, from our range of access of partners such as Climate Kick, which is the Europeans climate innovation project. We've got a Global Resilience Partnership, which is a university network hosted by Stockholm University. We also have UNDP Accelerator Labs. We want to really build a global capacity building support, a network of providing network connection and advocacy, and also tailored support to individual grantee level to really help them grow. So want to close, you can visit this particular grant window through the website of www.adaptationundp.org, small grant aggregator, to see when the funding window is open again. And I believe our UNEP and CTCM partners grant funding is still, technical assistance funding window is still open. And last, if you want to search our team, you can also just Google search UNDP Plan. It shows what sort of work we do. Lastly, I do really appreciate the opportunity of the youth team provided. We'll look forward to closely work with them again on helping innovation, supporting social enterprise, supporting young entrepreneurs in the future for climate change. Thank you very much. I'll pass the floor back to Sami.
Thank you so much, Charles, for this amazing opportunity. Yes, actually, we were honored to be in the design stage of this initiative. So I think, as I mentioned to most of our young leaders and governments and partners yesterday, so this platform acts to create these opportunities in the future for such kind of offers. So now the opportunity is already available. So as I think Jonathan is already there. So welcome, Jonathan, from all the way from Mexico. So as we mentioned as well, I think we wanted to make sure that we have concrete solutions for you. You can take actions, be part of these discussions, dialogue. You can apply for these opportunities and receive funding and curate programs and mainstreaming some of these solutions over there as well. And really thanks, Charles, for being here, and hope that we can connect through the platform to getting more solutions from these young people networks who are here for the next round as well. So really looking forward. And also just for our colleagues, I know that some of our attendees are actually not from this region, but coming from our global audience, we are really excited to have you here from our African region. We had our Latin American colleagues from Europe region. Really honored to have all of you in various time zones. We made it more Asia Pacific friendly, our time zone, but you are still here with us. So we will be actually sharing all these opportunities and the details as well. And most importantly, some of these opportunities, especially even the climate week, I think the colleague Luca and their team is actually having these weeks across the region and the global as well. And same as for from our Charles, the opportunities are also global as well. So if you're from any country in the globally, we were sharing yesterday that though we are focusing on this region, our opportunities are actually, our teams are mostly global. So hopefully that you can connect with those as well. And then, inviting colleagues to, there are some questions and others to provide your contacts, provide websites, so our delegates can visit them and get more information as well. So moving into the next session, our colleague is actually joining virtually, in terms of a video message, because even further in UK. So from our British Council, colleague Monomita Chowdhury. So who is actually working on the COP26 in charge in terms of some of the youth engagement to the climate network, but also working on the Global Innovation Challenge, which might be interesting for you to get some grants and work stream from the British Council. So let me show the video of our colleague Monomita.
Hi, my name is Monomita Nag-Chowdhury and I work for the British Council based in London. I'm the Active Citizens Global Programme Manager and I'm also the technical lead for the British Council's COP26 Youth Engagement Strand, focusing on challenge grants for young people. Climate change is a global issue, but it's also a cultural relations issue. Through the British Council's COP26 work, we are delivering all around the world in 3 pillars that we work in. So that's arts and culture, education, and English language, providing support for dialogue, innovation, action, and responding to climate change. I'm really pleased to be here with you virtually to be able to share some of the work that we're doing and to really support this regional dialogue in youth engagement on climate action. I'm just going to share with you some of the kind of key components of our work, and there you can also see on the PowerPoint slide a mailbox if you do have questions or inquiries, and also our website, and you can find out a lot more information that I've been sharing on the website. So what is Active Citizens? Active Citizens is a social leadership programme, and since 2009 we have provided skills to over 300,000 participants on some of the big social challenges of the 21st century. So skills to address those challenges. And now we have an opportunity to really focus on the challenge of climate change to ensure a more sustainable, equitable, prosperous future for us all. The vision of the Active Citizens programme is actually to build trust and understanding and sustainable social action. Our global network of partners deliver the programme locally by recruiting facilitators who are change agents in the community and have a really positive influence. Our change agents, our facilitators, attend Active Citizens training. The training focuses on a learning journey which goes from exploring identity and culture to intercultural dialogue to focusing on areas of citizenship, and then bringing all those perspectives and learning into social action design and implementation. We've been able to really work at scale over the 11 years of the programme, and we've worked in over 70 countries, and we've got some statistics there for you, and they're on our website as well. So the challenge grants of our youth engagement strand are focusing on young people in formal and non-formal education between the ages of 18 and 35. So we're hoping that the challenge grants will be able to support active citizens and alumni over the 12 years who've worked on climate change projects, environmental projects, and want to really think about how to build on that learning or to bring in new ideas. In addition to supporting social action projects, we are bringing together active citizens around the world through virtual events, a bit like the one that you're at today, to collaborate on solutions to climate change, engage in advocacy, and to build networks. The projects are going to focus on 2 of the priority areas for COP26, so that's adaptation and resilience, as well as nature, and really linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, really promoting economic, social and political inclusion for young people to feel connected, creative, informed, innovative, to be innovative, and of course to be part of the decision-making processes. So So just to give you a few examples then of the social action projects from around the world, we actually have 16 countries participating from our global network, but we have a number of countries who are also interested in joining as well. To give you an example of some of the projects coming out from South and East Asia, we have got 5 examples there for you. So in Pakistan, an awareness raising campaign to plant trees, Sri Lanka focusing on waste management, Bangladesh building rooftop gardens, Indonesia focusing on education, and in Vietnam focusing on ecotourism. So a real range there of projects that are addressing the issues that we're facing with climate change. And we're hoping that through the challenge grants this year, we'll be able to implement over 100 projects with 700 active citizens involved, as well as a number of volunteers and the beneficiaries as well. So I'm really pleased that you had this time to find out some more of the work that we're doing. I'm really pleased to be part of this journey with you all to make a positive impact through working with our communities, taking action, raising awareness, and implementing policy. So really look forward to finding out more from this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Monica. It's really great to have her video message as well. As you can see already, British Council, especially leading up to as UK as the main host of the COP26, they're taking a lot of initiatives, and British Council is really engaged in this agenda and active citizen network. There may be some active citizens colleague over here, and myself as an active citizen participant, really in terms of how we can create the capacities of being transforming ourselves to being leaders, active listeners and contributors, but also getting resources to be part of this dialogue. So hopefully you can connect these opportunities in your countries. If you have those connections, we'll of course share the presentations and the dialogues in our platform. So hopefully you can connect these opportunities. And now we are coming into some of the last groups of our teachers, but something really exciting. I think many of the participants are actually representing some of these organizations. So hopefully we can get some shout outs and pump ups for your colleagues who want to share quotes about the opportunity and engage others in this platform. So we are starting with someone, and you have many of you are really honored and want to be part of, and we are super excited that they are part of this platform. I think even this platform is not viable, we say, without the presence of them, and really humble and engagement of them. So with our YANGO colleagues. So without further ado, let me invite also joining very early, all the way from Switzerland, Mary Claire Graff, at the global focal point. You met Hita yesterday, so you have Mary Claire joining today. So Mary Claire, over to you.
Hello and welcome. Ni hao from my side. Yeah, my name is Mary Claire, as already mentioned. I'm the global focal point, or one of the 2 global focal points. The other global focal point was Hita Lakani. She spoke at the opening yesterday, and I'm going to talk about YANGO. So the UN loves acronyms, but no worries. YANGO itself is an acronym, and it stands for Youth NGOs. And it's exactly what we are doing. We are youth NGOs, we are young people working as a youth constituency to the UNFCCC process. So young people are engaged with the UN and the UNFCCC process and try to make our voices heard. So what brings us together, what motivates us to be involved? I think we share this problem with many of you. Young people are already affected, heavily affected of the climate crisis, which of course also results into the lack of activities and ambitious policies from the past. But yeah, we don't want to sit back, we want to be engaged, and we also have the moral obligation to partake in this climate process, and we have the right to be sitting at the tables when decisions are taken. That's our motivation, why we are in YANGO, and actually this is already enshrined, for example, in the preamble of the Paris Agreement, where you can see that children and youth are one of the many groups which are listed to have a right to be involved. Nevertheless, we are not yet sitting at the tables where decisions are taken. Nevertheless, there is a network which is called YANGO. You can see it's a global network. Many of you are probably already part of the network. As you can see, young people from all over the world coming together and engaging with the climate change processes. We, of course, have like normally physical gatherings twice a year in the intermediate conference and then at the COPs, but we are working very importantly throughout the year on all the different topics. This can be, for example, the gender agenda, this can be the ACE agenda, as Fleur already mentioned before, adaptation, finance, we had before the adaptation fund, technology framework. So basically everything what interests you in the climate world, we have a group for you where you can work with other young people who are very passionate about these topics. So our mission has 4 different aspects. So one is awareness, knowledge, capacity building, as we are doing here, was already mentioned a lot of times, but also like collaboration, cooperation networks, because we of course realize we can't do this alone, and also it shouldn't be on the shoulders of young people to do this alone. And I think this event also shows a brilliant part of how we are doing collaboration. Then ultimately we want to influence policies. That's why we're doing lobby and advocacy work, and then also youth actions within and outside of the UN system. And this we are all doing to fulfill our vision, to, on one hand side, really have a climate positive and just society, that we are able to live in harmony with nature and our planet, right, to overcome the whole crisis. But also we want to have an empowered youth generation, that young people are able to drive these changes and are able to act and make their voice heard on a local, national, regional, and international level, especially also in the UN system. And the last one is that young people are taken serious and are able to sit at the places where the decisions are taken and are meaningfully engaged. As mentioned, we are not alone. There are in total 9 different constituencies, and you can also be part of different ones. So you can, for example, join the research, the Ringos, or the Bingos, the Tongos, or any other. But I'm going to talk about YANGO and show how you can get more involved. So as mentioned, for us, it's very important to build the capacity and the knowledge that young people can actually engage in the process, because the processes are very complex. And you need to have quite some understanding to be able to interact on a meaningful level, but YANGO can help. Then YANGO itself is, of course, a huge network. We have over 1,000 organizations, over 10,000 young people already in the network, but we are also working with many other stakeholders together to then also be able to influence the policies. You already heard from UNICEF, for example, how they're working also with UNDP, with the NDC. So we are also working very closely with them together, for example, on the NDCs. And then, as mentioned, doing a lot of different youth actions and also standing in solidarity with different youth actions. We're also organizing the Conference of Youths. Some of you might have already been part of either the Global Conference of Youth, happening always in conjunction with the Conference of the Parties. This year we have a virtual Conference of Youth because of the ongoing pandemic. And then we have, of course, a lot of local and regional Conference of Youth. Some of you might have already been organizing one or been part of one. Yeah, the upcoming 16th Conference of Youth, so we're organizing this for now for 16 years, is going to happen in Glasgow the days prior to the Conference of the Parties, which is also happening in Glasgow. And now you probably want to know how you can get involved. I will show you afterwards, like the QR code, how you can get involved. There are, as mentioned, different working groups, like there is something for every person. If there's a topic which is not yet covered, you can just create a new working group. You can represent YANGO at different UN meetings, whatever interests you. And there is a Facebook group where you can join, and the mailing list. So you can scan here the QR code and sign up. There's also the link. Hita is going to share it in the chat. So you can sign up. The only requirement is that you're below the age of 35 and you should be somehow interested in climate. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. But there is no fee. There is no entry test. There is nothing because by the nature of the constituency, we're open to everyone. And we are very happy to see you. Here are the channels where you can follow us to not miss out any of the opportunities. And if there are any other questions, you can always reach out to Hita and myself, and we are very happy to support you. And again, here's the link if you want to join. And with this, handing over back to Savi.
Thank you so much, MC. You can see the shouts are going on. I think there are a lot of YANGO members here. We are really, really honored and proud to have. I think this was, out of the 100 plus questions, we got almost 20 or 30 plus questions. How can we be part of YANGO after Hita's presentation? So now you got all the links and how to be part of it and what is it there, how we can be part of these things. We said like, just wait till tomorrow. MC is there to tell you how to be part of the movement. So I think you can already see, I mean, a lot of people are showing interest and already part of the interest. I think we are deeply honored to work with YANGO and we ourselves, all of us, at least entire organizing team are already YANGO eligible young leaders as well in our own organizing team. So really important that these spaces are creating for the official constituents and also discussion. So really thank you for the work that you do. And for this region and global, I think it's a global opportunity. So any of you can join in these platforms and discussions. And then moving on from this amazing opportunity from YANGO, I think we are all here in a way are volunteers in actions in this platform of climate engagement, climate empowerment. So why not we have the best organization talk about the volunteers and with United Nations volunteers with the SDG acceleration toolkit, and also how you can be a volunteer, because there are a lot of questions on how to be an intern, how to be a volunteer, how you can do that. So over to you, Emilia, from our neighbors in the UNDP, UNV Asia Pacific, over to you.
Yes, hello to all, more than 600 people. It's a pleasure for me today, and thanks to UNDP and partners. My name is Emilia Asadova. I am the regional program analyst for United Nations Volunteers Regional Office covering Asia and the Pacific, but I'm joining from Bangkok. So I'm going to share my screen and present to you today a tool that we are working on and a few opportunities that you may be interested. So we are working currently on the acceleration matrix, which we hope that a lot of you, a lot of activists and volunteers could use to really help accelerate the very necessary progress on the SDGs. All of us know that the Sustainable Development Goals are interconnected, and there are ripple effects and multiplier effects that could be made. So the point or the aim of this matrix is to really identify actionable ways in which volunteers and volunteering can be maximized to accelerate progress. And how we do it is we bring two dimensions. So we bring the factors that lead to SDG acceleration, and I'm going to show them in a second. And we take the distinctive contributions that volunteering or citizen engagement can bring. And why this is important is because I think often with some of you, you would encounter that you are doing quite a lot, but sometimes you are not speaking the right language, or the right messaging is not going forward. So we do hope that through this, the messaging could be actually quite right. So I will show you the example of the climate change, and we are working on this as a toolkit, which will be in a very practical manner, but we took climate action and inequalities as sort of the two goals where we would like to show this. So the green areas on the top are really showing the acceleration characteristics for all the Sustainable Development Goals. And we know that we only have now 9 years to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So this would be important. And then the pink ones would be the contributions that volunteering or citizen action is making. And if you would take, for example, the first one, which is tackling inequalities, and you would bring solidarity. So you could actually create green alliances, and I'm sure a lot of you are doing this. Or if you take the systems level change, so how institutions and organizations from local to global can contribute to SDGs. This is about participatory policy making. So if you're interested, because we are still in the stage of developing it, if you're interested to actually try or test it and utilize in your work, please get in touch with me. So now I will move to the next opportunity, which is a lot of you are already doing a lot, but if some of your NGOs actually need more volunteers, you could do that through the online volunteering platform that UNV has. And you would see some of the statistics. You could get volunteers, but you can also volunteer yourself through that to anywhere in the world. We have some amazing stories. I know the UNDP and a lot of our colleagues from UN are actually extremely happy with the work that we are providing through the platform. And the next one is we really need talent or the UN and the partners really need talent like yourselves with your ambitions and your ideas. So I'm just put here some of the pages, and also that if you want to become a UN volunteer, please register your talents and yourselves at the talent pool. And for the SDG Acceleration Toolkit, please get in touch with me, and I would be very, very interested to test and further refine this tool. Thank you very much, and over back to Sabi.
Thank you so much, Emilia, for sharing this amazing opportunity. It's really interesting to see the SDG Acceleration Toolkit, especially on the nexus of climate change and inequalities, very important agendas. We actually were talking about the climate empowerment, youth empowerment, and leaving no youth behind on this nexus yesterday as well. So very relevant. I hope that you can be part of it. And you have that opportunity on how to be a volunteer, how to be engaged. And then there are a few colleagues in this room right now with me, and many of them have been or currently are United Nations volunteers officially, and also we have been very proud of the online volunteers. I think it's an amazing opportunity, especially when you are a youth organization or NGO, civil society. You need some extra help in terms of getting your word out and engaging partners. There are things that your passion and engagement capacities can do, but it's always can get some more help, and we have been always with language translations, to getting us with a lot of communication ideas. There have been a lot of program design, so amazing platform and opportunity. So we are really, really happy to have Emilia and the United Nations volunteer teams with us, and hope that you can explore as well. Then I'm going into our last two opportunities, but again, I think many of you are part of this platform. I think I can get another round of shout outs going for our Movers Network. So to tell you more about the Movers, it's our Movers founder, or the everyone's champion, Din Long, is here, our UNDP colleague, but also the Movers founder. So Din Long, over to you.
Thank you so much, Savi. So yeah, everyone, keep your phone at hand. I will have a QR code as well. So yeah, I'm Din Long from UNDP, and also I'm here today to introduce you about the Movers program, so an initiative founded by Youth Collab. But first, I have a question for everyone. So can you please type on the chat, either one, if you don't really know what is the Movers program, you can type two. If you already joined the Movers workshop, there were some in the pre-events, and you can type three and make some noise if you are already a proud and happy volunteer of the Movers program. So I already have 100 messages on the chat. It's too much to handle, but okay, that's so fast. Okay, so I see most of you, 1, 2, 3 of you, we have a good balance. So I'm sure when you saw the banner for the first time, you were like so excited. You saw UNDP, UNICEF, YANGO, and then you saw this red logo and you were like, what is this? I've never heard of the Movers program. So yes, I'm here to answer this question today. What is the Movers program? And we actually asked this question recently to our community. So we asked them, what do you think is the Movers program for you? What is our vision? And they answered, youth empowerment, youth, community, SDGs, energy, engagement, so all of these things, and it's really, really true. So basically, the Movers program, we are a regional community of volunteers, of facilitators, of community builders who are really passionate about youth empowerment and about the SDGs. And our volunteers that we call movers, and there are so many in the Zoom room today, we conduct workshops anytime and anywhere, online and offline, to train young people on 21st century skill, on SDGs, and obviously on climate change as well. And being a volunteer of the Movers program is really an intense and exciting journey. So I will share with you an example. So let's say a random youth, so the guy on the left, so me a few months ago with less hair, how can he become as amazing as Linka on the right? Maybe this person is already doing some personal climate action. Maybe he has, a reusable cup, reusable bottle, but he wants to do more. He wants to mobilize his community, raise awareness about climate change, and encourage everyone to take climate action. But maybe he lacks confidence. He doesn't know where to start. So how can he become, as amazing as Linka? And that's really the purpose of the Movers program, is to make this as easy as possible for the young people, is to encourage and guide young people to take the first step, the second step, the third step, any steps that you might need to take action, mobilize your community, become a better facilitator and community builder. And we do that by having a lot of workshops and capacity building activities for the youth, by providing a lot of train the trainer toolkits. We have a lot specifically for climate action by providing ongoing learning opportunities, mentorship, and obviously a very safe and supportive community. And yeah, I think I really want to emphasize on the word journey because it's really a journey. It's an ongoing learning journey where we really encourage youth and the volunteers to take action all the time, to organize workshops, to find participants, to find partners, to find co-facilitator, to find a team, and really encourage them to take action as quick as possible. And of course, it will not be perfect, but it's not what we want. We don't want you to be perfect. We want you to take action. And your first workshop might not be perfect, but we are here to help you improve and develop your skills and have a better workshop after workshop. And one very important thing I want to highlight is really about our intention to change the mindset of, okay, I'm the beneficiary of a program, I'm the beneficiary of the workshop. How can the youth become the one who inspire other youth and become the one who mentor other young people? So it's really important for us to change this mindset from, okay, I'm the young person, I'm powerful, as Hita said yesterday, I have the responsibility to be the bridge and connect all these opportunities with my local community. And of course, it's fun. You will meet a lot of friends from all around the region and now the world. And yeah, this is a QR code, I promise you. Everyone will share on the chat, I'm sure. You can scan it, you can reach out to us. But yeah, now we have hundreds of volunteers. The community is so big around all the region. And last thing, if you are not convinced yet, we asked this question to our community to complete this sentence. Thanks to movers, I was able to. And I wanted to share some of the answers with you all today. So one person said, thanks to movers, I was able to have hope for the future, smiley. I was able to empower youth, do something for our future, and make friends with so many great people. I was able to get so much positive energy. I was able to share useful information with my community. And I was able to explore the world, improve myself and everyone around me. And yeah, I think I wanted to show you the faces of movers because I'm speaking on behalf of them today. And yeah, they look quite happy and excited, right? So why don't you join them? This was the celebration of the 1-year anniversary of Movers 2 months ago. So this was organized by the Movers community in Bangladesh, so offline meetup. We don't see that a lot these days, but yeah, that was super fun. So we hope to see you in the Movers community. It's open to everyone as long as you are young by age or young at heart. And yeah, we'll share everything on the chat. Thank you so much, and back to you, Savi.
Thank you so much. I think the chat is going crazier with belong in place, So and then we actually have Linda in the room as well. But all of you will be with her for the unconference very soon, in few minutes time. And actually, all these youth organizations are networking with each other, YANGO and we have Movers, Network 2030 Youth Force curating some of these sessions, leading for this event, and as a platform, we are super excited for this collaboration. So last but not least, we have this amazing youth network that I was so proud that we curated with UNV and the teams over there. And back in 2016, you have your host Jules coming from the network, but we have this amazing superstar Rizky joining with us all the way from Indonesia to talk more about 2030 Youth Force. Over to you, Rizky.
Thank you so much, Sophie. So I will start my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Just getting there, yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Rizky Azarmudiono, and I will introduce to you 2030 Youth Force in Asia Pacific. So, wait. Before 2016, some of the 2030 Youth Force co-founder had been actively engaged in social activities and had developed local or national network. But the journey of 2030 Youth Force began on June 2016. We are not only a local or national network, we became a regional network in Asia Pacific. It is because the support of UNDP and UNV. UNDP and UNV were partnering to empower and inspire youth to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2016, the collaboration brought 19 young leaders from all over the Asia Pacific region, and 2030 Youth Force was formed. So it started with 19 young people. Now we have reached out more than 1,000 young people, either as a board member or SDGs ambassador in Asia Pacific within 5 years. We have successfully conducted several activities related to the SDGs in 7 countries. And what is exactly 2030 Youth Force? So 2030 Youth Force is a youth network in the Asia Pacific, collectively working toward a quality life in 2030 with the principle leaving no one behind. So 2030 Youth Force in the Asia Pacific want to inspire youth to engage in promotion of sustainable development goals and initiate action to drive positive change toward an inclusive and peaceful society. So based on my personal observation, 2030 Youth Force as a network focus on the 3 areas, awareness, engagement, and advocate. So in number, we have reached out more than 500 board member, 70,000 social media follower, and more than 1,000 youth organization has been engaged in our activity, and more than 20 activity each year in total at the 2030 Youth Force in Asia Pacific. In addition, we have 2 music and 1 flash mob because we want to do in a youth way. So this is our best practices. This is our awareness and engagement best practices. For example, 1, 2030 Youth Force Nepal, meaningful hike as a part of Set Your Goals training. The participant went for 3 hours hike from Talcott to Canggu Narayan. Participants were informed about the 17 development goals, sustainable development goals, and how youth can be involved or contribute to the achieving the goals by 2030. And we have SDGs Youth Engagement Summit connected by 2030 Youth Force Vietnam to engage with the startup communities. And also 2030 Youth Force Indonesia Peace Performing Art. In this session, the participants who have joined the workshop perform their art and on peace such as poetry, theatrical, or some exhibition on peace and SDGs. This activity also includes a short discussion. And we have in 2030 Youth Force Philippines, SDGs Bayanihan Caravan Mural Painting. So there are students from 17 schools in Quezon City painted the walls at Camp Karingal in a mural painting. So if you want to see a change with different approach in social, economy, or environment, 2030 Youth Force is the best platform for you. So next, when it's come to the policy advocacy, we have successfully to push the SDGs agenda in the national policy level. For example, 2030 Youth Force Indonesia regularly to join the national discussion to prepare voluntary national review on SDGs and make sure that young people or youth organization involved in the process. In 2030 Youth Force Philippines, through the lobbying effort of the 2030 Youth Force Philippines, this landmark resolution is a legislative contribution for the achievement of the SDGs by 2030. From a 11-day series of activities at various communities across the nation for the Global Week of Action 2019, 2030 Youth Force Philippines and the celebration with this impactful action, ensuring that all 2030 Youth Force Philippines efforts are mirrored in the House of Representatives. This is some of our policy advocacy. And we have something that different from other networks. So what makes us different? First, we understand that there are 1,000 or more youth organizations across Asia Pacific. Mostly they are working in the grassroots level and have direct approach to the beneficiaries. Just a few organizations will have opportunity to build a dialogue with the government or decision maker. So this is our role, 2030 Youth Force. We want to fill the gap to strengthen and bridging the network. If you're familiar with the social ecological model, I see that 2030 Youth Force has adopted this process to bridging the dialogue between young people or youth organization in the grassroots level to the executive institution to involve young people in the decision-making process. And second, we are aware that every country has their own needs. Thus, every Youth Force national chapter has the right to create their own priority issues and approach that were still in line with our core values and goals. Currently, we have 7 countries: Cambodia, China, India, Indonesia, Nepal, Philippines, and Vietnam. And third, like I said before, that we are using something different. So we have music and we have a flash mob. While other networks using a conventional way to raising awareness on SDGs, we are doing in creative and innovative approach. 2030 Youth Force Vietnam has developed a music and we have SDGs flash mob. Okay, so we have a way forward a decade of action. United Nations has developed a decade of action on SDGs. We have our own decade of action of SDGs and youth developed by 2030 Youth Force Asia Pacific member. So expansion in this 10 year, we will expand the network, impact the most countries in Asia Pacific, partnership to collaborate, and also advocacy building. This is our objective, to lobby for youth meaningful participation and leadership from the young people to lead the 2030 Youth Force Network in the Asia Pacific and leaving no one behind. This is the important thing, to reach the youth and other sectors and implement program at the grassroots and involve the marginalized communities in the process. If you think that you have the similar agenda in your network, we are open to collaboration. Our website is under maintenance, but you can follow our social media. You can follow our social media at first at 2030 Youth Force Asia Pacific, 2030 Youth Force, or you can send us an email. So to conclude my presentation, that's all my presentation, but to conclude my presentation, I want to send a message for young people who joined the session today. No matter how great the talent or effort, a good thing just takes time. So what do you need? The most important thing is in the process is commitment and consistency. I have committed myself for 2030 Youth Force, and now the time is yours. For UNDP and UNP, representing to 2030 Youth Force in Asia Pacific, I would like to say thank you so much for your tremendous support. Since 2016, we are in the process to become a professional youth lead organization, and it is because of you, UNDP and UNDP and UNP, who has inspired us, and later in year 2030, it will be part of our story and memory within our heart. And I have grown to be a better person in 2030 Youth Force. So thank you so much. So to close the presentation, I would like to say, when it's come to youth, nothing about youth without youth is for youth. And lastly, may the 2030 Youth Force be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rizky. I think the same passion we have seen in you in 2016, and we are seeing it. We can see some shout outs going on from our colleagues in Vietnam, Indonesia, and many others. I can already see a huge interest from Bangladesh to expand. So if you are interested, I think there are a lot of young people from Bangladesh who want to get 20 youth force there. So hope we can collaborate. So, but yeah, it's a lot of opportunities, because answering the questions that you raised us toward yesterday, if it's just another talk shop and telling a lot of discussions about climate and youth should work on it. No, we actually have concrete opportunities. We have organizations, we have partners, we have resources that we want to bring into you. So this is actually the part of this platform. Nothing a full rocket science, it is a collection of opportunities tailored for you. So with that one, let me thank once again for all of these partners joining in very early morning to very evening and coming here presenting their amazing programs in a 5-minute pitch and being here answering your questions, because they value your engagement and participation. So once again, thanks to all the speakers, and hope to be part of this platform, and hope you enjoy these discussions as well. With that, let me hand over to you, Jules, another 2030 Youth for Superstar.
Right. Thank you so much, Savi, for facilitating our marketplace of opportunities. Let's give Savi and all the speakers a virtual round of applause. Thank you so much for that very interesting session. And I hope you guys took notes for all the opportunities and make sure to join any of those organizations. And of course, shout out to my home organization, 2030 Youth Force, especially 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines. Okay, so at this point, you can see the slides right now. We will now proceed to our parallel events, which will focus on learning from others and building collaborations. We will be having 3 parallel events. The Government Roundtable, as you can see in the first column, will be for the APAC Climate Promise government representatives. This parallel event will focus on improving youth representation in the new NDC plan and developing effective action plans. So for all our invited government representatives from the APAC Climate Promise nations, you may now temporarily leave this Zoom and enter another Zoom link, which we have sent you through your emails. Please be back by 3:30 GMT +7, that's Bangkok time. You may now proceed to your roundtable government representatives. Another parallel event is for selected youth organizations. We have pre-selected attendees for this roundtable. The discussion will zero in on how youth organizations can play a key role in national climate plans and support implementation. So to all our invited attendees for this roundtable, you may now temporarily leave this Zoom and enter another Zoom link, which we have sent through your emails. Please be back by 3:30 p.m. Okay? And of course, for the unconference, that's in the middle column, topics have been suggested to improve understanding and foster concrete follow-up actions. And we have also sent and invited, we had an open invitation yesterday and the other day to those who wanted to co-organize this parallel event. So there's the link right now. Please join in this Zoom link. So there you go. See you all here at the plenary at 3:30 GMT plus 7 Bangkok time. So please enjoy your parallel events and please don't forget to use our Zoom background. Thank you and see you later. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We need to temporarily close this webinar, and we will resume our session for the closing ceremonies by 3:30 p.m. GMT plus 7.
Okay, no, I was just checking if my background is working or not. That's it.
Yes, Lamia, it's working. Can you join it's me, Savi. Can you join our speakers dry run session? I think you have got the Zoom link, so we'll be doing the session over there. Yeah, hope to see you there.
Okay, bye-bye.